All right, welcome to Raising Funds for World Domination, day 116. So for the standard intro, nothing has changed on the renovation front. We're coming up on the next date of the next hearing. I guess that's just about a month and a half away. And as usual, we're going to continue working towards the next release of the terminal block mining simulation game. And through my days, I'm working on a new long-form video. So today, I continued working on that same graphic that I've been working on for a few days. So at first I thought it would be quick to get that done, but there's a ton of detail in it, and there's lots of detail and lots of data points, and for each of them I'm like, I should research this, and it takes a bunch of time, but it'll be hopefully it'll be worth it. I'll probably be able to reuse it for a bunch of scenes in the video to like zoom in and pan on it and stuff. And for the block mining game work, we'll continue with that tonight. So we are still working on the fancy algorithm or fancy function that I'm working on for merging the multi-column characters. So I finished, I believe, everything I need to do in the test cases. So I'm just like running the test cases against the implementation and finding and fixing bugs as necessary. And I think I got quite a few of the issue cases ironed out. So I did, actually the other thing I did today, when I merged it in, I decided to actually make a couple fixes. The error that I found last night when I ended the stream, I had an idea about how to fix that. So unfortunately, my merging function is becoming crazy complicated now. But I guess it's trying to support so many things. All right, let's run it and see what it does. Orthoplex 64, how's it going? Alright, the game still works. It still has that weird glitch in it. It's also got another weird bug with oh yeah, there it is. I'm not sure what's going on with that. Hopefully that goes away. When I actually have, I said before that I had like 6 different merge layer functions, and the goal is to get it into one, but I still need that other one for now. Hello, amigo. Is this rendered in the console? This is this game works in the terminal, already like serial based environment. So this is like graphical terminal. It is possible to also run this in the like pure console, like the restricted graphics mode with no frame buffer. So if you run it on the console, it should the like capability detection is not very good, but it should refrain from using emoji characters, and it should just use a different single character ASCII character to render everything. But you can get basically the same functionality. All right, so that works. So some of the remaining bugs are the edge cases when, these are literally edge cases. There are cases when there's a multi-column character at the edge of a layer. So when it gets merged down, what it's supposed to do, it should be smart enough to, through the merging process, it should be able to detect that this character is getting cut in half, and then instead of taking the first part of it, it should set that to be a space. Cool, I like that you can choose which one. Just started learning Rust. Made a Minesweeper implementation with some TY library. Neat. Yeah, the terminal is I don't know, there's a certain simplicity in like the interfaces of terminal applications that I think just makes them attractive. And I think it makes sense for this to start off this game idea, because it's I've never seen, I don't think I've ever seen many like advanced terminal video games before. And the fact that it's only in the last few years that emoji characters have there's been a lot of emoji characters, and that they've been like supported in the terminal. So actually, I don't know if I've ever heard of another game idea that uses emoji characters in the terminal for graphics. Do you like using bare bones Vim? I'm assuming that's what text editor you're using. Just made the switch over to NeoVim with some plugins. It's kind of nice. Definitely a hassle to set up. Oh, that's too bad. I was hoping that NeoVim would be much easier. That's one of the things. It's been on my to-do list for a while to learn like some more advanced integration, like language server integration with Vim. I was kind of thinking about that more in the past, but I guess I've just, for this streaming series, I've just settled back into old ways. Yeah, I don't know. If I could never finish the next release on this, maybe I'll take a step back and do a few streams where I just take some time to learn my setup. It's still on my to-do list. I promised everyone I would actually try using AI to code, and I have not done any of that. I've tried Copilot, which is kind of nice. Low friction, as you can tab if you want to take suggestions. Yeah, actually, the main thing that prevented me from really using it was I think it's been solved more recently by the model context protocol, like the ability of LLMs to code in ChatGPT seemed pretty impressive. So I thought, like, it'll be interesting when and if I can hook this up to my code base. And I guess you really can do that now. But the last couple times I tried it, if some kind of like integration level thing failed, or I have to install this tiresome plugin, and then I looked for reviews on it, and they said it was terrible and don't use it. But I think that aspect is improving rapidly. Using an LLM through the webpage kind of has high friction. Yeah, that's like, for me, that's, even if it produces amazing results, that's kind of like, why would I code outside of the coding environment? Miss Jess, yo, Robert, what's up? Not too much. Still grinding away on the multi-column character support for the layer merging, but I think I'm getting close. Yoshikaga Kira says, Clippy, are you trying to recruit me into the Clippy movement? I haven't changed my profile picture. You know, I was thinking about it. I think the best way, what I should actually do, actually, you know what, I think I might start my own anti-right to repair movement. I think that's the best contribution that I can make. Hey, Clippy, is your existing one? I probably won't. If I do have some video topics on the theme of like right to repair that I'd like to do, but I'm too much in the weeds on what I'm working on. I try to just, it takes me forever to get anything done. I've spent like the past, how long has it been? Like 4 or 5 days? It's been at least, I think, 4 days that I've been working on one graphic, just one image for this that's going to be in this video. But it's going to have lots of information, so it'll be hopefully worth it. But yeah, anti-right to repair movement. I think that would be a winner. I mean, if I'm going to go for world domination, I have to make it illegal for people to repair stuff. I'm not turning to the dark side. I am the dark side. Look at my profile picture. This is becoming so complicated. But if I can get it to at least work, then I can maybe think about refactoring it. Like every other operation out there. I'll just be a bit more transparent and honest. Yeah, that I can make should make NT ready to prepare, so you can appear just misunderstand everything. Yeah, I'll do some rants against Louis Rossmann, and I'll argue against something that he's not arguing. That'd be a good idea. I don't have time. There's so many good ideas, but I can't pursue them all. All right. 444. That did not do what I expected. That's not what I want. Nice, it looks like that actually worked. Robert is unhinged. In what respect? Haven't been here, just threw a comment. Okay. How's it going? Interesting. There's so many cases that I just don't think about. So I guess what I'll do going well. Excellent. So I guess for multi-column characters, I'll have to always delegate. Always have to refer back to the first column's active flags, change flags, and color codes. So many never-ending cases. I want to just finish this so I can move on to more exciting things. This function has become like such a monstrosity, so much more so than I had originally anticipated. Oh my god. That's why I have to finish it now, because if I take a break, I'll forget everything. Pirate Games rocks the YT algorithm with phenomenal growth, supposedly done via viral shorts farm. Yeah, I know he mentioned that a few people referenced that strategy. I kind of wonder if that was the thing or not. So I think I tried it one time. What was it? He said don't set it to not go to your don't show it to your subscribers. And I think I tried that, and it just was standard. It didn't seem to change a lot, if I remember correctly. Now I'll also have to change the test suite. All right, that's doing what it's supposed to. It is Goat says, how goes it? Not too bad. Still grinding away on the multi-column character merging support. But I feel like I'm making progress. All right. I'm cracking open my tight flow macros, Rust project. Nice. Canadian spell color, C-O-L-O-U-R. Yep. I guess, I think in Canada we're like technically the most proper is with the U. We follow like British English, so there's a bunch of words that have like a subtle difference. Color's one of them. There's a whole family of words where in the US it's O-R, but here it's O-U-R. I think in the UK it's like supposed to be O-U-R, and here you're kind of forgiven for just using either one, and nobody really has a strong opinion. But it's I remember, like, it's funny how programming actually makes you a better, like, yeah, actually, I had a very bad English and spelling until I started programming, and then I kept spelling words differently every time in variables, and then I was like, you know what, maybe I should just learn how to spell this correctly, and then the correct spelling is the canonical spelling. And I remember actually when I was at NVIDIA writing something, I had to think hard about the spelling of color, because at first I started spelling it O-U-R, but I was physically in the United States, so I had to use, you know, I don't want to write Canadian code in America. That would be, I get fired for that. Compiler complains, so you must stick with the spelling that is consistent. Yeah. Alright, the code's already crazy. Let's make it even more crazy. How are you doing, my man? Not too bad. Still grinding away at this what is becoming a monstrosity of a feature for trying to merge together the layers. I ended up adding basic commands yesterday because I was bored. Things like direct draw, select red pen, reset my PC, and selected a red pen in MS Paint. Need a job for real? You said about the telescope stream has me thinking something I could do with my Arduino or Pi. You could. The problem is with tech projects, there's so many interesting things you could do, but there's only so many hours in the day. I mean, and there probably, at this day and age, there might even be some prior art out there. Like there's probably some super, people that already do telescope, like their whole streaming setup is about telescopes. And they probably have already thought about this integration of having super chats, able to control it. Microcontroller projects make your software feel more real. Yeah, they're definitely more satisfying. I think if you do those kind of projects, there's definitely, there's way more people making web apps than embedded stuff. The barrier to entry is just higher. Rockhat 8626 says, "Hey friends, how's it going? How did you learn to budget?" That's also kind of a random question. It seems to me I think you've asked a few I think yesterday you asked about how to be more confident, or no, how to improve attention span. How to budget. I mean, I just spend no money on anything other than the main stuff that I need. So I spend money on rent and food, and on almost nothing else. Essential business expenses. Honestly, I don't really even have that many expenses that I really need to budget for. When I buy something for the business, I think to myself, like, is this going to have a good enough ROI? Pets, servomotor treats. Yeah, I mean, there's it could be fun for like a learning project, but at the same time, there's probably even a commercial product that exists that does that. So the fastest way would probably just be like tap into an existing implementation. Like if you can just find, there's probably something out there that where you can like feed your pet remotely with an app. Louis Rossman just released a guide on great projects to open source. Looks like a lot of cool projects. I'll try like home labs or personal cameras. Yeah, he's definitely a trailblazer in a category of his own. Everything that can be done most likely has. Yeah, I mean, that's why I think it's important to back up and question, like, why do you want to do the projects you're doing? It can be just people categorize it as like, just for fun or for hobby, but I think it's also like a competence and confidence building activity. Like the first, like sometimes you just have to get it out of your system to program it yourself to get the confidence that you can actually do it. And of course, it also teaches you how to do it. So if it's a learning objective, then I think you should optimize it for being a learning objective. So you don't necessarily need to make money off of it. I think there's a lot of programmers fall into the trap of thinking that everything has to be like profitable or be a business. But sometimes you just do stuff to like expand your knowledge about technology. And then on the other hand, if you want to make money, most likely it's not going to be from inventing something like that from scratch. Like a lot of the low-hanging fruit to make money on and stuff like that has already been it's already been capitalized on, and probably not by someone who even cares about technology. It's probably someone when he was a billionaire who just paid a programmer to do it, and then if it was really profitable, they extracted maximum value. Gorilla says, hi again. How's it going? There have been apps for remote feeding for years. That's how I do it with art. Never sold it. The materials cost me a lot, but I just give it away. Yeah, I mean, with all the speaking of art, people say like AI is going to put artists at a business. But I saw a homeless guy today. He had like these hand-drawn things. It was like on this. It was a really dirty area of the sidewalk. He was selling these like hand-drawn pictures. And it's interesting to think that as we have so much advanced stuff in society, like AI can completely replace humans in the art department. But yeah, that guy, he's doing it, so he must be getting some revenue from people. That there's still a market for art. Unfortunately, as time progresses, inflation increases, the need for profitable ideas does too. Yeah, I don't know. Well, I'll have a business-related video coming up soon, so hopefully that'll help a little bit. Yeah, I can't make the art. I make. Yeah, AI is pretty awesome now, but because every time you use it a bit, like I use it for, I've been using it for art quite a bit. It is pretty good. It is pretty amazing for like basically if you want clip art, it does a very good job of like completely automating that. But for that stuff, the application there is it kind of replaces a role where I would, like for me anyway, I would absolutely never ever pay an artist to do that stuff, just because like even if I could afford it, the time it would take to communicate to the artist how to make it manually is just too much work, and I would be like, what, just don't bother. And it would be way too expensive. Make jewelry. That's neat. If you've seen my chip videos, I had thought about it'd be neat to make jewelry related to microchips, and then I googled it, and that already exists. Your videos are so dense, I enjoy them. Have you talked about your time owning a business, a startup? Sounds like a video people would be interested in. I have if you watched my how to become a 37-year-old broke loser video, that goes into lots of detail about the business. I had a look the other day. 10,000 in 1966 is the equivalent of 175,000 in 2024. Situation's getting out of control. Yeah, it's also it's really hard to compare that stuff too, because like the rate of housing inflation, like you can just do a simple interest rate calculation to try and calculate, like, this many dollars in this year is equivalent to such dollars in that year. But you can't really compare it because different asset classes of things have changed by different amounts. But there's also stuff like, they say like the quality of a house has gone up because older houses are worse, so that also gets kind of factored into it. They're like, you're getting one house today is worth 2 of what it was years ago, so that, and they're doing this all to like, artificially to hide the fact that you're basically being robbed through inflation. And then of course, we have so many other weird, like homeowners associations and stuff are spreading like viruses where these private equity firms come in and start HOAs and then just fine people and extract money from them. The company I work for is still paying a graphic designer for clip art. Interesting. Yeah, I assume Well, I guess one advantage is like you will get exactly what you wanted. I mean, in some respects, like I've been using ChatGPT for some art stuff, and it is still very slow. So if you like, I think a lot of graphic designers too, they rely on like graphics packs and stuff. Like there's all for going back to the early Apple computers, they would come with like clip art packs, and then that would be used as a basis for like transforming that into whatever custom clip art you want. People who try to sell AI art are despicable, though. Yeah, maybe, I don't know. If you print it or something, like if you're actually adding value somehow. I mean, as long as it wasn't produced using stolen artwork, I don't have a moral objection to it. But at the same time, like if anyone can produce it, like it kind of decreases the value of it if it's not actually produced by a human. Gotta go get some melatonin. Housing market in Sydney is exploding exponentially too. Our prices there are going up at the moment. I guess here, like our prices have been insane, and we've had insane immigration, and I think rents have peaked and rents have started going down actually a bit here. And we also built like a massive number of condos that were just designed for investors. So they're like, the builders keep thinking like, okay, how do we lower costs and increase profits and stuff? And the whole model was basically because so many investors were buying these condos, they kind of just dropped the requirements of building something that a human being would actually want to live in. So they started like, they'd be like, okay, let's take out one elevator. Let's have more floors. Let's have a smaller footprint. Let's have like they would do something like, like to save money on the plumbing, they would put like, they would design the layout so like the sink for the main sink and the bathroom sink could be together or something like that. And then you have to use like 1 cent less plumbing pipe. And the result was condos where like, so I was saying like, because they have less elevators, it could take like 30 minutes to get in and out. So if you like go down, get in the elevator, go down to street level, and then realize you forgot something, it's going to take you 30 minutes to get back up to your apartment because of waiting for the elevators and stuff to get to the top floor. And nobody wants to live in these. Like you can't raise a family in them. It's only for like one person, like a college dorm basically. And some people call them dog crate condos. So anyway, there's a massive number of these because investors would just buy it, and the whole model was they would buy it and then flip it in a few years for increased money. And that whole model is starting to break down, and a lot of these people are like losing their shirts, and so that is kind of the catalyst for popping the market here. And I've seen in the U.S. apparently the housing market is the bottom's starting to fall out a little bit in some of the hottest areas. So maybe we'll get a housing crash. Quality housing here has dropped. New builds are really dodgy, so people have gone back to buying old houses. Australian house prices reflect the increase Canada has had. It's worse here, actually. Yeah, actually, I saw a couple news things about a couple of points on that. One was I saw some, I think it might have been a 60 Minutes piece of like some condo building or something where a bunch of people bought into it, and then it was like structurally unsound. So, and it's just sitting there not doing anything, and people don't want to live there, and they basically lost everything because it's like not finished and it's cracking and stuff. I guess presumably that's a semi-famous story. And then there's some massive suburb where I think someone was saying like, I don't know, around half of all of the houses in that area, the people there had negative equity in it, which is so crazy. That basically means like, banks en masse sold housing to people at some elevated price, and then it went down enough so that literally everyone has negative equity on their mortgage in this area. We're definitely there's a systemic attempt to shaft as many people as possible going on right now. Median house price here is currently 1.5 million. About 1 million USD. Nice. Yeah, it's kind of close to that here. It's a little bit less here in Toronto. Apparently the building surveys we're signing off on these builds are being bribed by builders. Yeah, there's so many networks of corruption and stuff that exist now. Like I believe any of those kinds of stories. It's getting to a point where the mass robbing and the mass robbing of hardworking citizens and corruption stuff is getting to a breaking point. Like if someone's operating a successful business, you can rob and steal from them, and as long as it doesn't destroy the business, you can just keep doing that. But at some point, you rob and steal and like destroy people's lives enough, they're going to stop producing stuff. Like even if it's not going to be a matter of like it's not going to be a matter of making people angry and having people revolt. It'll be like when you destroy the rich people that you're stealing from, you can't go on. Ironically, there was a similar incident here in Sydney where people purchased apartments before they were built. Things started to crack and showed heavy structural damage. Yeah, I believe it. That stuff's probably gonna go worse too as the market starts to buckle and go down, and all these builders run out. Apparently, there's I think we're on the precipice here of like a huge, huge what do you call it? Downturn for construction, because the like what you were saying there about pre-sales, like people, because of stuff like that, and because of the bad market, and because people can't qualify, they're not able to make enough pre-sales to fund the construction. So I think we're at like one of the lowest amounts of construction starts since like 1980 or something, which is funny. We're like reaching record low constructions, but we have like going back to like nearest comparison is the 80s or something, or 90s, but we have like 3 times as many people here. It's so absurd. It's funny. Sleepy time tea. Now to listen to the state of things. Never been happier to have a 50-year-old house. Yeah, I think that's the way to win. Go far away from the city. Live in the woods. But I guess if you're in Australia though, there's so much like poisonous stuff. I myself am $250,000 in debt. Running a business is brutal. Yep. I guess I'm rich compared to you. I have well, actually I guess right now I am kind of running. I'm at about zero. I'm at like a few $100s in debt at this point in time, basically. I don't think our poisonous animal compared to the U.S. gun problem. I don't know. Is it? I don't know. I guess it works both ways. If you have weapons, you can defend yourself. Probably not. I think it likely depends whether it becomes a problem or not. Depends on where you live. You envy me? Yep. I'm a baller. I should take some Instagram photos with my with pictures of my credit card statements and brag about how I'm only $100 in debt. Get some fast cars and some attractive models. I made $350K on my house. My house is worth $850K. Nice. I got positive equity. Yeah, it's kind of frustrating and stupid. Like, think about how many hours you have to work. So the net there is like $500K. Like, think about how much you have to work to get $500K after tax. But like the way our economy is set up, it's like a lottery system where if you guess the right time and place to buy a house, you just get to have like infinitely more wealth. It's like you get gifted a lifetime. But then if you buy before the market collapses, then you get to lose everything. It's kind of a stupid system if you want to reward people for doing good things. The problem is people using housing as investment. Houses should be homes first. Only once everyone has a home should homes be used for investment. Yeah, I think, in my view, the problem is simple. That there's artificial constraints on like where you can build and what you can build, and like if there was just if there was a larger supply of them, then the price would, be easier to buy them and the price would go down. But I've started to seriously believe there's like a concerted effort to just like brainwash people into believing like insane things, like that if you increase the supply of houses and you decrease the, just make it more accepted, that won't somehow make them more affordable. So then people vote against like policies and stuff to build more housing, or to make it less expensive to build, which just constrains supply. And then these investment firms and stuff that profit off of it can make more money. I mean, it almost seems like a population control mechanism. Because if the government decides they're like, too many people are having children, we can slow down population growth by making it impossible to buy a house. If I was to change my current rate of 180 an hour, it would take me 2,777 hours. Yeah, that's and did you count tax too? Because that makes it even worse. It's not the best system, but it's a system, I guess. That calculation is not including 40% taxes. Don't think supply is the root of the problem. There are hundreds of thousands of empty houses here. Well, at some point, like I know there's like hoarding of houses and stuff, but the reason people hold on to that is, they think that the supply is going to be constrained in the future. Like at some point, if you produce enough of something, the people who are holding on to it will eventually let go of it, because they'll be like, okay, there's not going to be a shortage. That's the only reason to hold on to investment properties like that. Is you think it's going to be more constrained in the future. But if those people suddenly get news and like, hey, the government's going to build 1 trillion houses and undercut you, then they're like, well, I better sell it. Tinfoil hat. Let's put PFAs in the water to reduce fertility. Yeah, probably. Who knows? Who knows how many covert ways we're being suppressed and robbed. All right. Expected true, but it's all false. Okay, so that's in the implementation. That should should just do should pick up the same flag as the previous one, but it's not. Time to make coffee, get back to the grind. Have a good one. Have a good day. Why do you torture yourself with Rust? I don't know, I've decided to just avoid Rust. Java works good for me. I'll stick with that. Maybe I didn't compile this. All right, let's debug. almost. Got some more errors. That shouldn't be a space. So when the right word pass, that's supposed to be 0, but it's -1, which is not correct. How do you make a CPU? Well, first, you gotta get a rock, and you gotta smash the rock. Then you got 99% concentrated silicon dioxide. Then you gotta purify it to 99.999999% silicon dioxide. Then you melt it into you put it together with some carbon in an arc furnace. This is Java. The question is, okay, we've got a -1 there. Man, it's so hard to code in an IDE. Man, I hate IDEs so much. Now the other thing I wanted was this. code seems familiar. Familiar? Maybe. If you've looked through the block mining simulation game code before. It is a terminal-based video game where you simulate the process of mining blocks of iron ore. Live for your videos? That's good. That means that someone likes them. What's your favorite one? Now I'm not going to try editing this IDE because it's so hard to edit code in an IDE. Wow, look how bad that looks. Okay. My plans for world domination. Yeah, I like that one as well. I have some ideas for a follow-up. I think there's yeah, that one didn't get a lot of views, but it seemed like one that I mean, putting out content like that is also partially like just testing the waters with certain, concepts and ideas, like what you put stuff out there, and then people lock onto certain things, and remind me, like the I think the whole Axel Heiberg theme makes sense. And there's a lot of organic demand to like incorporate that together, these vague concepts together with the game idea. So I'll probably continue to pursue that. Build some lore around the topic. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll have to. Maybe I'll have to actually. I'll have to go ahead and call up the Norway's Department of Interior to get an address. Figure out where to send them a fruit basket. Would you say you're still improving as a software developer or engineer? Or is it like driving where your ability is good enough after X years? It's a good question. I mean, I guess as you like to be a functional human being engineering software in the world, that encompasses a lot of stuff. So like you can just think about like just algorithms class or something, you can become good at that. But then there's other, like if you think about the type of person that spends, 10 years studying algorithms, and you put them in a corporate environment or something, the type of person that actually has like mastered lead code probably has also sacrificed a lot of social skills. So it's anyone who's been around a lot of nerds knows that like the actually most advanced nerd who might have like high social status in the class doesn't necessarily go as far in the corporate environment. So at some point this like you have to factor in social skills, but also like project management skills, because there's also a lot of. I mean, you could criticize my. This has been at least a 30-day saga of me working on this screen merging feature, and I'm still not done. So, in the context of a business, you have to not only, it's a multivariate optimization problem. You have to optimize building software, but you also have to build the business. And if you spend like 10 years optimizing like merge sort or some relevant algorithm, the business just fails because you run out of money. So there are cases where you have to cut corners and ship things that are just garbage in order to actually make money, because then you have a big pile of money. I mean, like one good example is Microsoft. You can hate on Microsoft a lot, but Microsoft is a big pile of money. So if they want to improve their garbage software, they have money to do that. And so, but of course they did a lot of evil things to get that money. So like the question is, how much evil do you do? And how much like good engineering do you do in learning how to balance these things and interact with people and human beings? And yeah, so I guess you say, will you say you're still improving as a software developer? I think some of my skills are maybe atrophying a bit. I would say developing at working at companies on projects with other developers is that's quite different. Like even from a technical perspective, like thinking about how to merge stuff, like source control etiquette. You have to learn how to use the source control tool, and like some companies, some groups will really want you to merge things in and keep all the history. Some people want you to like rebase everything and keep a linear history and stuff. So given that I have not, like it's some of those startups I consulted for, I was the one teaching them like how to use Git and like how to actually work together and how to test stuff and set up CI pipelines and stuff. So I guess if I was at a company, I would be probably like forced to keep up to date with that. So I'm probably behind the curve on that. But doing what I'm doing, I'm also learning way more about like the thing that a lot of people do, which is want to escape the corporate 9-to-5. So I've been so far able to kind of eke out a small living doing what I'm doing. And that's a completely different skill. Okay, this might do what I want. Or will it? Still broken. Actually, it's a good point. Developing solo versus part of a team requires different set of skills. Yeah, and there's probably even like two different ways to describe that too. One is like this. One is like the technical skills. So like, frequent thing when you bring on a junior who's not like an intern or something, the first thing they do is they'll push a commit to the master branch. It has like 5,000, like 10 gigabyte files and like all of their build artifacts and stuff like that, and like all kinds of garbage. And you have to tell them like, okay, you gotta check what you're actually pushing and not, and like put stuff in git ignore and stuff. And then so you can have that conversation, and they'll be like, oh, okay, I will correct my behavior. And then there's other stuff that's like, no matter how many times you tell the developer or your coworker, like, please stop committing, like breaking public interface changes, because every single time I pull and try to build, I'm getting compile failures way over in code that you're doing that is about something that has nothing to do with what I'm doing. So you have to tell them like, please test this and like stop pushing stuff that breaks unrelated features other people are working on, because then you have to like pull and be like, oh, he renamed this, and then you gotta like go do temporary changes in someone else's code. And so, some people are receptive to that feedback and some aren't. Nope, still broken. So that's not correct. Such a weird bug. Amazing. It finished the test suite with 3 wide character layers. We're getting closer. Amazing. No bugs. Stupidity dupe says, "Wah." How's it going? All right, let's try 4 wide. Bro, can you tutor me? That's a lot of work. What about ChatGPT? It's a pretty good tutor. And will it work with 2 height? Wow, amazing. Let's do 10. 10 by 10. Amazing. Can you teach me how to build a mouse? A computer mouse? What part of it? Do you want to start with the injection mold plastics? Or the internal circuit board? Or the little sensor in it that... see, what do those use? I think you can buy those individually on eBay if you want. That would be one strategy. Just buy get an Arduino kit or something and start playing around with those like laser diodes or whatever that sense motion. Learn about circuit board soldering and PCB layout, and then the USB protocol and how to communicate with the computer, and then learn about semiconductor manufacturing so you can manufacture your own chips for the mouse. Brown paper bag. Says, yo Robert in chat. How's it going? All right, this will do a lot more coverage. Almost. So we got some kind of a bug. That occurs only when there are 0, 1, 2, 3 layers. Jimmy Vales sends a $9.99 contribution to World Domination. Excellent. Thank you very much. Yeah, I haven't gotten a super chat in a while. That's the first one in a couple days. Thank you very much. W. Dono indeed. All right, we're getting closer to a minimal test case. Hopefully this is easy. How come you almost always film your videos wearing the same jumper? By jumper, you mean the same turtleneck sweater, that like the kind of orange one? And well, in some of the recent ones, I've been trying to change it up a bit. Although I have, in fact, I actually go to great lengths to try and keep continuity. Like for some of those videos that I filmed over 10 or 15 days of filming, where it was like 20 hours of talking edited down, I would have to explicitly put on that shirt like for those 15 filming days. Just because I would get I want to make the videos like non-distracting as possible. So every little thing that changes throughout the video is like a distraction, and it makes it seem like it's it's just something for people to comment on. I like that particular sweater, but the other reason is for thumbnails and branding. My thought process is like if people watch, for people who watch my videos who say I really like that guy's videos, if they've actually watched a few of them, to maximize the recall of like when you see that thumbnail for a fraction of a second. The goal is to increase the click-through on the thumbnail. I have to maximize the chance that someone will just see it at a glance and be like, oh, it's that guy. And if I have consistent look to the thumbnails, if people can recognize that it's me and my face, then they'll be like, oh, I know what kind of content that person produces, and then they'll click on it. And that's true for anyone. And I've come to the conclusion that your face is your ultimate brand. And so everything you can do to just like maximize, because if people see it and they're like, oh, who's that? It's some random dude. And like this, people come into chat every once in a while who'll be like, hey, you're the same guy from the favorite Linux command. And then immediately they're like, oh, okay. If they like those videos and watch them, then that like it changes the perception of that in their mind. That will change the probability they click on, whatever other stuff they're going to click on. Does look good. It's probably good for Personal brand. Yeah, I actually just bought it. It came from China, actually, and I just bought it for like a gimmick for one of the videos. But then I started wearing it, and I actually kind of liked it. Do you feel lonely sometimes? People ask that question amusingly often. I don't know. I assume the people asking that must be kind of lonely. Not really. I've thought very deeply about this. Yep. The most important thing is you have to maximize the click-through. So people don't click it then. Have you found a fedora for Miku? Yeah, actually I searched on eBay to see if there was like a miniature fedora. Actually, there were like some like doll accessory things. And there was one that it didn't really look like a fedora, but it was more money than a real hat. It was like $30 plus $20 shipping, and I'm not gonna pay that much for it. And I don't think it would have looked that good. It was a bit too big too. R.I.P. indeed. Solitude is my favorite feeling. That's why I travel alone as much as I can. Don't get lonely. Yeah, I've thought about this, and personally, I think that the concept of there's the concept of being like an introvert or an extrovert, I think is it's a false dichotomy, because in reality, like for most of my life, I've just been working in solitude, or doing studying for midterms, working at the business. I'm in my internship, so there's like I live in the middle of nowhere, and there's like very few people around, and few people who I do know are interns, and they're busy. So I'm usually around people that are working, and I would say I definitely prefer. Like some of my friends, when I've met up with them every once in a while, I'll have like a 3-hour. I'll go have lunch and have like a 3-hour conversation or something, and then come back and work on whatever. So my preference is definitely to be around people. But the word around, or like the word to be with people, I don't want to be. I think when a lot of people say that, they mean like they want to be physically in the same room talking to them. But my preference would be to be at all times approximately 200 feet away. At probably like 95% of the time, I would like to be 200 feet away from someone that I get along with very well. That to me is like peak social life. If like the people you vibe well with and care about are like, they're not on top of you, like they're far enough away they can't they're not interrupting you. Or I mean, if you think about like a tribal life, if you lived in the forest or something, if you you've got your own cave, and then in like just over the ridge there's someone else. That's why I watch your streams. Don't care about coding, but you have interesting ideas. You're an interesting person. Oh, thank you for the kind words. Yeah, I think that that way of, my guess is if you actually like dissected this with a lot of people, I think there's probably a lot of other people who feel the same way. But the reality is that with like increased density and stuff like that, it's not. I mean, back to some of the housing, back to the discussion about housing affordability and like the government conspiracy theories and stuff like that. I kind of think that there's probably someone like there's probably someone in the powers that be that know this is better. Like the optimal lifestyle is to be around people, but not in the same room as them constantly. But that costs a lot of money. Like you would need to satisfy that, you would need to have huge plots of land for everyone, which is of course how people lived, a couple hundred years ago. Men don't want to be alone, but want to be by oneself. Yeah, I think I've heard that phrase. I guess that's an kind of memorable way of putting it. But yeah, it's just like being. I think that's pretty optimal, because like if you're just out walking around the yard, or you're like near people, you can bump into them every once in a while and just like chat with them for 15 minutes or something. And also if there's an emergency or you need something, or if there's news, if something crazy happened, you can go have a surprise conversation with them or something. But in terms of being like alone in one of those dog crate apartments, and not interacting with anyone for years, I don't really. I think that's a pretty like maladaptive thing to want. I think I might feel the same. Work from home, love it. It feels kind of good to have neighbors. Yeah, and I found it's getting harder to have that. And even I think I said in another stream that we have so much immigration here. It's just the number of people around me who don't speak English is starting to get crazy. Like I went to the grocery store before this, and I walked past like 3 or 4 groups of people. On the way there, I walked past a guy, and just as I was going by, he was from I think probably like Sudan or something. And as I walked by, he saw some of his friends on the other side of the street and started yelling at them in Sudanese or whatever. And then on the way back, in the grocery store, there was some husband and wife that were from South America. And then coming back, there was also there were two women with a stroller who were, I think, also from South America or something. And then right as they come into the building, there was a couple people from India, and none of them were speaking in English. So it's if you're in an emergency situation, it becomes a bit more difficult. And if you want to drop in on someone's conversation, it's not if strangers speak the same language, you can be like, oh, hey, are you talking about the baseball game? But now I won't know. My suburb is an immigrant suburb. We have every nation represented here. I love it. You don't have to speak the same language to have good interactions. That's true, but the problem is, I've been around multiculturalism for my entire life, my adult life, but it's at some point it becomes exhausting. It's kind of cool to go and meet someone, and it's super neat for a vacation, but when it's just this endless Groundhog Day of learning infinite new languages and cultures and stuff, it's at some point you could be like, okay, we can stop now. And the gap is getting wider too, so it kind of goes both ways. It's it's hard for them. Like the integration will take like decades, I think, before we get back to I don't know, until we have like a sense of neighborliness. Brown paper bag says disagree. Disagree on what? Love learning about other cultures. Try to learn languages. There's so many languages though. I was raised in a multicultural environment. I think it was a positive thing. What do you mean by multiculturalism? Like, was there integration? Don't need to learn someone's language to have positive, respectful interaction. That's true, but it's just I mean, it's like every time you have like one new piece of unfamiliarity, it just makes every interaction more difficult. Like it's I mean, I have no idea what you said. You were in a multicultural environment. Like, was like there's so many variables in what you said that are not there. Like when I moved up here, we had most of the people were most people in my class were from China, but everyone spoke very good English, and there was like English language comprehension requirements, and we were also like there on the basis of what we were learning. But in the last couple of years, then the amount of immigration has like gone up exponentially, and the language comprehension has gone way down. So the amount of like stuff you can do, like when I try to talk to these people, it's not that I'm not interested in talking to them. It's that they have nothing, like they have no reason to interact with me. And it's also it's extremely labored for them. Like they can only say a few words, so like why would they talk to me when they can just interact with each other? Parents are deaf. The world is hearing. My whole childhood was an observer, a multicultural experience with the world, interacting with my parents. I mean, it's also a different thing to go through childhood. Like we have, like, I mean, another specific example is I was at the dentist. And when they were filling my teeth, and like we've had multiculturalism and immigration for years, and it's never been a problem. But because all of the standards have gone down, they had like a dental assistant whose English was not very good, and they're filling my teeth, and so they have to like mix some stuff together. And she like mixed it wrong, and they were about to fill my teeth with it, and she's like, "No, this is too powdery. You got to fix this." And there's like, they're having like, I'm sitting there with my face open, or my mouth open, and they're like trying to fill my teeth, and like I don't want the quality of my dental procedures to be compromised because the people who are filling my teeth are miscommunicating. We have a lot of that stuff going on now. You're assuming every person of that culture won't be able to learn English. I'm sure if they did, like that's the problem, is we don't have any integration. Like we brought in massive numbers of people, and it happened so fast. They've not had the opportunity to actually learn. Like I think Canada had some of like the highest immigration rates in the world over the last couple of years. Oh, it's actually past midnight. 56360 says, "Sup, Roberto and Shadow. How's it going?" Dental assistant with poor English is probably better than no dental assistant. Many jobs have skill shortages. Well, I don't know. I think the solution to job shortages is to train and hire people in our domestic population. We got tons of young people here who can't find jobs. I thought that was giving me an error. It's our failing, not the failing of immigrants. It's true, it is our failing, but the solution is to resolve our failing, not to patchwork work with huge numbers of immigration. Not too bad here. How's progress going? It's coming along. I think yeah, I made a few breakthroughs in getting the multi-column character merging working. So that I think I have to trace down to this bug, and then there's one more issue with when characters get cut off on the left edge, and I'm hoping that after that, that might actually, I might be able to like let the test case, like to have full test case coverage after that. And once I have that, then I can delete the old merge function, and within a couple days I'll probably be finished this multi-column character nonsense. Never any long-term thinking, just short-term fixes. Yeah, I mean, it's like the way we are doing immigration too is also like, it's not good for the immigrants. There's a ton of like we have like not only do we have the immigration issue, we have like massive fraud and stuff on it. There's this like LLIMA fraud or something like that, where like this stuff doesn't get covered by the news much, but there were some immigrants who were protesting because they can't get jobs here because I forget how the scam works. They do this thing where they like say that, oh yeah, they say that they can't find domestic workers, so they'll put up a job position, engineer it so it doesn't get any applications, and then say they can't find domestic people, and these are jobs for like coffee shops and stuff like that. And then they also don't give it to the immigrants. What they do is they sell the job to someone as like a way to scam immigration. For like $20,000, they like allow you to get this job. And I think historically it's been worth it, but it's also like, I think it's this whole scamming system is getting to its terminal phase where it's, you know, it's not even worth it for some of the immigrants to come here anymore. And of course, on top of that, we have so many issues with these students getting scammed with housing. Students coming here trying to like just rent a place, and there was one where like they put down their first and last months, and then they came to move in, and there was like 20 people there who were all trying to move in on the same day, and then this like supposed company had like vanished. I want to try and get this down to a minimal test case. But it requires at least 7 characters. right, 9 will do it. And then what about 4 characters? What about 3 characters? So I expected empty string and found null. At x equals 4. It seems like I should be able to simplify that. This is a complicated case to think about. See, can I reduce the layer number? Maybe. thought this... Oh, there we go. All right. So we've isolated the remaining failing case. All right, with that, we'll probably call it a night. So we'll be back tomorrow for day 117. And I think, assuming those test cases pass, once I fix that case, then I have I have to fix, I'm anticipating there's going to be another bug for when the left character gets cut off, which is basically a mirror of the same problem. The rightmost character gets cut off. And when I fix that, theoretically, all of those tests might pass, and then I will be getting to an end of this saga, of this column merging nightmare. All right, have a good night, guys.